Between the early Middle Ages and the 1860s, Italy had never been truly unified. Ever since the 11th century, the north of Italy was fractured into nearly countless city-states under the de jure control of the Holy Roman Empire. In the center of the peninsula lay the Papal States, and the south was dominated by the Byzantines, the Spanish, and various Islamic states. There was no true sense of Italian unity, save for the belief that they were the descendants of the Romans. In fact, most people identified more with their individual cities than with a broader sense of an Italian identity. The investiture controversy, that is, the conflict between the Pope and the Holy Roman Emperor over who had more authority, also served to deeply divide the population against one another. This persisted for centuries and it took an outside catalyst to truly unite the people. In 1789, France descended into a revolution. King Louis XIX was overthrown, and revolutionaries established a republic. The monarchies of Europe didn't want their peasants getting any ideas, so they invaded to reinstate King Louis. The revolutionaries eventually appointed a young Italian from the island of Corsica, Napoleone Bonaparte, as general to lead an army into Italy. While the rest of the French forces failed to invade the Holy Roman Empire, Napoleon was able to win victory after victory in northern Italy. He was eventually able to defeat the Austrians and negotiate an end to the War of the First Coalition, and reorganize the many northern Italian states into new client states of France, including the Roman Republic, the Cisalpine Republic, and the Kingdom of Italy. Napoleon's new kingdoms brought with them the ideals of the French Revolution, namely liberal ideas and a new sense of Italian cultural unity. After Napoleon was defeated in 1815, various monarchies sought to stamp out the liberal and nationalistic ideas that the French had brought to Italy, giving them the nickname reactionaries. In the years after the Congress of Vienna, the peninsula was bubbling with unrest, as many liberals formed secret societies, most notably the Carbonari. In the early 1820s, there were many rebellions and coups d'etats that attempted to force reforms through. There was a lot of disagreement within these revolutionary movements, and as a result, they were able to be crushed mainly by the Austrian army. In 1821, the Kingdom of Sardinia fell into chaos as an anti-Austrian liberal revolt sprang up. King Victor Emmanuel also despised Austria, as he wanted some of their land in Italy. However, he hated liberals even more than he hated Austria, so instead of caving to their demands, he abdicated. The throne then went to his brother Charles Felix, who also refused to work with the liberals. As a result of this, there was no change. The next decades were marked by some limited industrialization and very little economic growth. In the early 1830s, inspired by the July Revolution in France, where King Charles X was ousted and replaced by a constitutional monarch, many Italian liberals revolted. However, these revolts were once again crushed by the Austrian army. In 1848, revolution swept across Europe. It reached Austria, greatly weakening its grip on the peninsula. This led to uprisings in both Venice and Milan, both of which wanted their independence. In Sardinia as well, the revolution succeeded in bringing in a constitution, and the nation declared its support for the Italian rebels in Austria. It marched its armies across the border and was soundly defeated and forced to sign an armistice. Meanwhile, the French were busy crushing a revolt in the Papal States, led by a Republican, Giuseppe Mazzini. One of his supporters, Giuseppe Garibaldi, took refuge in the city-state of San Marino, which is here, in exchange for it not joining a united Italy. In 1853, Sardinia joined France, the UK, and Turkey in the Crimean War in the hopes of gaining their support against Austria. However, only France actually wanted to help, but only on the condition that the city of Rome wasn't taken. After an uprising in Modena had taken place, both Sardinia and Austria intervened. France sided with Sardinia, and Garibaldi launched a guerrilla war against Austria. More Italian states revolted against Austria, widening the war. Napoleon III, the French emperor, didn't want other nations intervening on Austria's behalf, so he made peace with Austria without telling the Italians. This peace gained Sardinia Lombardy and led to the establishment of the United Provinces of Central Italy, consisting of many of the small central Italian states. By this time, the United Provinces were already rebelling, so their leaders sought annexation by Sardinia. In 1860, Garibaldi launched the Expedition of the Thousand to aid rebels in Sicily. With only 1,000 men, Garibaldi took control of the entire island before invading the peninsula proper. Within a few months, Garibaldi had taken the entirety of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, and the Sardinians had invaded the Papal States, but not Rome itself. On the 17th of March, 1861, the Kingdom of Italy was proclaimed, with Florence as its capital city. However, this was not the end. Italy still desired the city of Rome itself, as well as Venice and South Tyrol, the latter two still controlled by Austria. Italy saw their chance to gain Venice in 1866 with the outbreak of the Austro-Prussian Brothers' War, a conflict between Prussia and Austria over who would lead Germany. Italy sided with Prussia, and it was agreed that Italy would get Venice if they won. In the end, Italy performed poorly in the war, but they were still on the winning side. Austria didn't think that Italy had earned Venice, so they gave it to France instead. Literally 10 minutes later, France ceded it to Italy. Yes, this actually happened. Italy now had Venice, but they still wanted more. It saw its opportunity during the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 to take Rome. Ever since the revolutions in 1848, France had guaranteed papal independence, which is why it wasn't invaded earlier. It had previously stationed troops in Rome to guard against any invasion, but with those troops now withdrawn to fight the Germans, Italian forces moved in. In 1871, Rome was declared the capital of Italy. However, it wasn't until World War I that Italy was truly unified, however. It still desired more territory from Austria, namely South Tyrol. Italy joined the Entente in 1915, and after the war was won, they were given the final corner of what they have today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.